Good morning, chefs, ladies and gentlemen. It's a little like coming home for us because since Stavanger, we have had the pleasure and the honor of being present at Worldchefs Congress. And in fact, this year, 3 generations, my father and my son joining us. So thank you for honoring us with this invitation to share some thoughts. I want to talk to you about a herb that is more ancient than most. It is tea with its 5,000-year history, but most importantly about that history is that tea was born as a medicine. And it's an incredible medicine because if you look at what tea offers today, protection from cardiovascular disease, from stroke, protection from the effects of pollution, from the effects of radiation, from osteoporosis, the list goes on, from dementia, from diabetes, so many incredible things. So many really incredible things. If you look at tea that is made fresh, that is made in the traditional way that my father committed to over 30 years ago when Dilmah first began. And so that wellness is what is growing tea today, and people are coming to tea, a new generation, which is a wonderful thing because you have generations, the millennials, the centennials coming to tea for its wellness, but for us, and why we are here today, why we are with the Worldchefs is something that lies beyond, because any beverage, any food, as you all know, it's about the taste. And when you look at the taste in tea, you've got everything from this wonderful breakfast tea. Now, this tea that is being served is from the Dilmah Valley. It's caressed by the morning sunshine, afternoon showers. It's the result of certain wind conditions, soil which is loamy. It's the result of an elevation at 4,000 feet, which offers around 16 degrees by day. It's in the nighttime, it goes down to around 11 degrees. All of this produces this tea. But the tea that you get if you drive 10 minutes further on is much lighter, more citrus, more fruity. If you were to stop a little before you reach the Dilmah Valley, it's something completely different again, more robust, more intense. Then a little bit, if you take a right turn at Dikoi, you get a malty, a lighter tea. There are infinite varieties of taste in tea, aroma, taste, and flavor. For us, this is what tea is really about. Yes, wellness is good, luxuries, wellness, health, medicine, it's all amazing because tea was born as a medicine. It is unique in its natural goodness, a lot better than a plate of broccoli in terms of its natural goodness. And I guess that's good news for those of you who don't like their greens. But what is especially good about this is this, because each of the characteristics in tea, they're crafted by nature. It's crafted by nature. So it's the temperature that produces that light, lychee note up in the Norelia region. It is the wind that produces the seasonal eucalyptus in a tea from uva. It's the heat and the diurnal range that produces the robustness and the bitter chocolate note in the tea that grows in the lower elevation. It is formed by nature. And this is why my father made a commitment. You know, his journey began nearly 70 years ago. But it was a time when Sri Lankans were not allowed to taste tea because apparently we ate too much curry. So he fought. For 38 years he fought, and eventually, when he did succeed, it was 30 years ago that Dilmah was born, and it was born with a commitment to several things that we remain uncompromisingly focused on. Purity of origin, because it's nature that produces tea. We talk of the influence of heaven, earth, and man. Because tea, we call ourselves tea makers, but it's in fact the rain, it's the wind, it's the temperature, it's all of these beautiful climatic characteristics that craft a tea. Earth, the soil. If it's flinty, if it's loamy, if it's sandy, huge difference because it affects the moisture, affects the metabolic process in the tea, affects the taste, the flavor, the texture, and affects how it works with food. And then finally is man, because man's role is to take what nature has done in the leaf, and relay it, make it in a way that we can enjoy. So that's a beautiful rhythm that we really cherish, and something that my father committed it to, in saying that his tea will be garden fresh, it'll be unblended, that is single origin, and it'll be pure. And today, you all know the pressures to compromise, the pressure to change, the pressure to blend tea with tea from cheaper origin. But we're farmers. We're not traders. We are farmers, and we love what we do. And we do what we do because we love tea. And so compromise is not a word that is in our vocabulary. And I was asked by Chef Charles yesterday to define my father. And if there's one word I would use, it's integrity, because it's not about the money, it's not about the commerce, it's about integrity, it's about the quality, the wellness that we deliver, because our customers trust us. And so that covenant must be reciprocated. And so this brings me to our association with Worldchefs. And that began with chefs at the turn of the century. In 1998, we produced our first tea-inspired soup. It was a faint effort. We had a little bit of tea, a little bit of ginger, and we had a lovely soup. But that was the beginning of a journey that brings us to this point. Because in tea, in this incredible variety, the wellness and so on, you have a wonderful synergy with food, because tea can dignify food, it can bring out flavor, it can push flavor if you need. It can take a salad and give it 3, 4, 5 different tastes, because you can use the tea to pair with, you can use it to pair with the olive oil, you can use it to pair with the macadamia nut, you can use different ingredients and work with tea to bring them out, to push them. You can use tea as a garnish, as an ash, as a jus. Peter's going to talk a little bit about that in a moment. But tea gastronomy has been something incredible that we have partnered with Worldchefs in developing. And these are some of the incredible things that we have done together. Camellia Epicurean, bringing chefs from around the world to talk about how we can use tea in making extraordinary dishes. You can use tea to cleanse the palate, to dissolve the fats, because tea helps synthesize sugar in the body, and sugar is such a potent, toxic area that the world faces. So you can have a wonderful dessert, and you can use, as in the case of the example we're sharing, an Earl Grey tea as an example, to elevate that chocolatey note, and then to reset the sugar on your palate, to reset the fats, because tea is an emulsifier, a natural emulsifier. But then what it does is it helps the body to synthesize the sugar, so it also helps protect against diabetes. So it's a wonderful synergy based, of course, on taste, based on that wonderful tea and food combination, but also on a very strong, functional, natural wellness aspect, and all derived in nature. But really what excites my father, my son, my brother, and I is this. This is a collaboration that we have with Worldchefs for several years. It is understanding and unleashing the power of your art to transform the lives of people. Because when my father started Dilmah, he made a commitment to making business a matter of human service, to making sure that the purpose of our business, yes, it's tea, we love tea. He devoted his life to tea. My brother and I have done the same. And from the looks of things, my son, who is running around taking pictures, he is going to do the same. But what it is about, really, it's about the purpose of our business. Why do we exist? We exist to make sure that that enduring connection with nature, that enduring connection with our community, with the less privileged people in our society, that it is a debt that we repay, because we cannot exist without any of those. And so here is one example. The Empower Culinary and Hospitality School, which I'm so grateful to Worldchefs, the education director, the whole team, for what you have done, because you helped us to build an entirely free service, which has so far placed nearly 200 unemployed, sometimes Down syndrome, cerebral palsy youth from Sri Lanka in your industry. It has helped us to take them, to train them, to show them how great is your art, to talk to them about discipline, to talk to them about nutrition, and then to teach them an art that today those young men and women are placed in industry because Sri Lanka needs them. If not, the alternative would be to be stuck in a room somewhere, being a burden upon the family. But empowerment and transforming the lives of people, that's the part of our business that, thank you. And it's a simple case of family values. And so to really summarize what Dilmah is, it's a business that is engaged with the love of tea and presenting the beautiful natural influence of tea, its goodness and so on. But what its purpose is about is like the Empower Culinary and Hospitality School. It's 100 different projects to help war widows, to help other people by translating our success, but not only that, by using it in a way that is business-like, because ultimately there are solutions to poverty, there are solutions to the problems of the environment, to climate change and so on. You just need to think a little bit, and that's what we learn in business. And so, ladies and gentlemen, with that, I would like to introduce my colleague, Peter. Peter, maybe you can present something about tea gastronomy.
Thank you, Dilhan. Nice to be here again. Good to see some of the old faces, and thank you for having me. Always a pleasure to talk about tea. In my experience with tea, it probably started in about 2004 when I met Dilhan, and he sent me a whole bag of teas over saying, can you please come up with some recipes? And since that time, I think there's been thousands of recipes, not just one or two. But I just wanted to do a demonstration, very simple, quick demonstration about how, 3 different ways really, to infuse food and tea. And the first one, I'm going to use the original Earl Grey, and I'm going to make a chocolate truffle. Chocolate truffles, everybody knows, it's a very simple recipe, beautiful, good quality chocolate, butter, cream. But to make it even more special, I found that Earl Grey tea and chocolate go absolutely beautifully together. It's one of those incredible combinations. I think it's the citrus in the bergamot that actually helps to ensure that the flavors combine. There's many other things as well. I'm making a maple syrup honey at the moment, so I'm infusing Earl Grey tea into maple syrup and serving it for breakfast over bacon. So the opportunities are limitless. All you have to do is have a bit of imagination, and that's the important thing, I think, with cooking with tea. So I'm heating cream and then basically brewing a cup of tea. Now, tea should be brewed for 3 to 5 minutes, unless it's green tea, and then it should be 2 minutes. So it's one of those things with cooking. I'm using cream, which is really fatty, has a lot of flavors that's going to take away from or dull your tongue. So I'm using more tea and brewing for longer, and that way we'll end up with the perfect balance of flavor. And always remember, when you're cooking with tea, that you shouldn't have to, you need to put more. You actually need to have more flavor and not worry about the stringency that's going to be there, because all these other flavors are going to actually jump into it. So as the cream comes up to the boil, I just add the tea, and then just like making a cup of tea, I'm going to let it infuse. And this will be, so 250 mils of water, 2.5 grams of tea, generally. I've got 200 mils of cream, and I've got nearly 30 mils of tea. What will happen is the tea will actually expand, and a lot of it will become, will soak up the cream. But that's fine, I'm going to strain it. So as that infuses, it changes color, looks really beautiful. And we'll leave that. The next is cooking and adding tea onto protein. So I've got this little dish called popcorn prawns, and basically it's beautiful prawns. It was nice to hear about aquaculture earlier as well. I think sustainability is on all of our tongues now, and it's a really important part of what we do. And these are local prawns that have been farmed here locally. There's a lot of local prawn farms in Australia as well, and I think, as the gentleman before was saying, if the farm is managed well, there's no reason that we shouldn't be eating sustainably. So these little guys are going to be fried. And to me, seafood and green tea are another incredible match, a match made in heaven. They actually go so well together. And all I've got is this beautiful Dilmah green tea with jasmine. And the speaker before that was talking about using flowers and aromats and everything in their food. We're lucky enough in Australia to have plenty of little micro herbs and ice plant and all the other flavors. But cooking with tea is a huge part. And to add green tea to seafood really brings out both flavors. I also like to actually make a court bouillon with green tea with jasmine and then steam seafood over it so that you end up with a wonderful aromatic flavor which only touches the outside of the seafood. Inside, you still get the original flavor. So with this, as it heats up, just adding a little bit of oil, and then we're just going to grill the prawns. I was saying to Alvin Bow before, I'd love to have one of these in my house. I hate to think about how much they'd cost, but they are absolutely beautiful tools, chef's toys. So these guys are just going to be very lightly cooked. And I have 3 dishes in 10 minutes, so it's a bit of a challenge. But it's all about mise en place, right, young chefs? Working with tea, to me, has opened my horizons. We're always, as chefs, looking for new ingredients. And I think tea has come along, and especially with the Dilmah range, it's so varied. There's so many different flavors that are infused. You know that they're going to be flavoursome, but you also know you're going to be drinking something that's good for you, or in this case, eating something that's good for you. So, grilling these prawns, getting wonderful colour out of it, and I'm looking at my timer over there to ensure that I don't go over time on the brewing of the tea. So while these guys are just going to sit off the stove, the next stage with this chocolate truffle is to actually strain the now brewed tea, leaving a little bit of the tea leaves in there. I think it's really important that we leave some of the tea leaves in there. There's nothing wrong with eating some of the tea leaves, and it gives good texture as well. I think it's an important part of cooking is to have a really nice texture. And then that, now you can see the color of the liquid. It's basically a very creamy tea with a little bit more cream. Thank you. Back on the stove, and then adding my chocolate and my butter. And then most of you guys out there, you people out there will know that making a chocolate truffle is all about mixing it all together, setting it, and then ending up with a beautiful paste or a lovely truffle base, which then we can then roll. So as this melts, I'll get onto my prawns, remove some of the chocolate. And so the popcorn prawns, can you come and stir this, chef? You can just stand on the corner there and stir this. We have some great help here. I don't know whether anyone's thanked the students, but I think it's always fantastic that we are, lucky enough to have students who in this industry are still so keen and want to learn, and also great experience for them, hopefully. So popcorn prawns, easy. A little bit of Japanese mayonnaise. We always love the Japanese mayonnaise. It's actually got fresh garlic in it, so I guess it's an aioli. A little bit of parsley, and then rolled in popcorn, and finally sprinkled with some green tea. And my hope and wish with all of this is that as you eat these, which none of you will get to, unfortunately, but as you eat these, you will get the tea brewing on your tongue, as well as all the other flavors, but ending up at the end with a wonderful flavor of the prawn itself and the jasmine. So this goes on, and I'll just do 3. Thank you, chef. Okay. Then the truffles, this could go. So chocolate truffles, as they always say, something I've prepared before. There it is. I've rolled them already. I'm just going to put them in a little bit of fondant so that they get nice and crunchy. There's tea inside it. You can take that away now, chef. But basically, you've ended up with a beautiful chocolate truffle base, which is set. Yes. And then we roll those around. I've got a little bit of salt in there as well. I feel that the salt really pulls out the flavor of the Earl Grey as well, and works really well with the chocolate. So that's those. And my last is a bit of fun, and I think there's two infusions. The first infusion is a standard, which we add to the food. The second is an addition to the food, which is the green tea and jasmine on top of the prawn, allowing it to brew in your mouth. And third, a little bit of fun. I have some Dilmah blueberry and pomegranate tea. Again, wonderful flavors. If you could smell this, it's absolutely amazing. The flavor comes out of it. But the thing I found over the few years of our high tea challenges, that everyone was trying to infuse alcohol and tea with not much luck, because you either heat it and then you ruin the alcohol, or you do a slow infusion which takes a long time. But if you're in a hurry and you want to get some color and flavor, some vodka, which you can see the bottle is full, I have not touched it, with the blueberry and pomegranate tea, and then I'm just going to charge it twice. And this charging twice will bring out not only the flavor of the tea, because vodka is such an easy thing to add flavor to, but it will also bring out the color of the blueberry and pomegranate, which is what really, really amazed me. I think that was probably the most interesting thing, is that when we do this, you get color. And that shows that of the natural ingredients that are used in tea. And there we go, that's a good one. And then we can just pour this out. I've done it before where I've turned it the other way, and the tea went everywhere. So now I just get rid of the gas and I'll strain it in. Still got me. So what we should have is a lovely pink vodka coming out of here. So a quick way to make a martini. All the flavors, all the characteristics of the tea will be there. Using 3 beautiful teas, probably my 3 favorite teas for cooking as well as drinking. But to me, cooking, eating, and drinking Dilmah tea is incredible. And I urge all of you chefs out there to actually have a go at cooking with tea, because we'll be back. Dilhan and I will be back around the world, probably one day with another high tea challenge. And what we want is innovation, creation, but also to be able to taste the tea and to be able to give due respect not only to the tea, but to the food you're cooking. So thank you very much.